Welcome, everyone. This is track 3, session 2. Hope I'm in the right place. Military credit for prior learning, campus culture, policy and procedure. I am Sam Lee with the California MAP Initiative, joined by Sheri Berger and Shelly Hess. Sheri, if you could introduce yourself if you haven't already.
I'm Sheri Berger. I'm the Vice President of Academic Affairs at Compton College, and we've been working to implement the military articulation platform and getting that set up. And so we are very much new at this, and I'm happy to contribute in this session.
Thanks, Sheri. And Shelly?
Hi, I'm Shelly Hess. I'm the Dean of Instructional Services for the San Diego Community College District, and we're also working on integrating with MAP. And as you'll see as we go through the presentation, I have a unique position at my district as the Dean of Instructional Services, overseeing curriculum, the district articulation officer, and student evaluations. Yes, I get to kick it off. So just take a minute and reflect on what led you to the community college. Personally, my story is like many others. I was raised in small town Missouri. My family was working poor, and no one in my family before me attended college. Fortunately for me, we moved to California when I was 15. I know I wouldn't have had the same opportunities from my hometown in Missouri, but even in California, when I graduated from high school, I didn't have a lot of money or options. And honestly, my high school teachers and counselors didn't have a lot of faith in me or my future. So for me, attending a community college, Southwestern College, was life-changing. It set the path for me to transfer and gave me the foundational knowledge and skills, as well as the hope and belief in myself that helped me be successful along my educational journey. So just remember, whatever your role is in the institution, that you're impacting someone's life, you're making a difference, and you're supporting their social and economic mobility. So now take a moment and think about the adult learners at your college. What do they worry about? What do they need? What are their thoughts? And when Strata Education Network surveyed adult learners what they worry about most, they've said that without degrees, they were worried about having a steady career at the same and having their basic needs such as food or rent. An overwhelming majority of adult learners do not understand how to navigate their educational journeys. The survey also showed that 52% of adult learners have doubts about their own ability in their education. And then while 84% of the adult learners said CPL was an option, and they would strongly enforce their choice of college or university, fewer than 11% of these adult learners receive CPL.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that the 32% didn't know where to begin, even though such a large percent thinks it would strongly influence their choice of college or university. A third don't know where to start with it. And when we started to look at our own processes, and we're not done with it, we found that it was confusing for us to know where our students would start. Okay, Shelly.
Okay. So as we know, CPL is not a new idea. Private colleges and universities have been offering CPL for quite some time. And as you heard from Dr. Green this morning in the opening session, community colleges, we have competition for enrollments, and our students know they have educational options. Here's an advertisement for the University of Phoenix from the CDCR. And as you can see, it says, earn up to 30 college credits. We can prepare you for an exciting career with the California Department of Corrections, and even enticing them with a salary range of $4,920 to $8,260 per month. So the competition is out there. The students know, and they're looking for it.
Yeah, and and I would note on that Phoenix charges $2,400 for up to 30 units of credit, and they don't let you know which credits you'll receive, which course credits you'll receive until you enroll, do your financial aid, and begin your studies. And as Shelly mentioned, this advertisement was found on the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation website. And as far as I know, they didn't pay for that advertisement. I don't believe the public agency would take paid advertising. But yeah, as Shelly noted, look at the earnings difference, and so I think it's interesting that they're partnering with Department of Corrections, and that was from the Department of Corrections website. Seems like that should be Miramar College or Palomar College, that opportunity coming from Department of Corrections. And this is go ahead, Shelly.
Oh, go ahead. Many of our colleges are doing the same thing. And as you can tell, here's an example from Palomar College, where they've aligned 30 units per post at no cost to the student, no upfront cost. And then the example of degrees that students can earn with their CPL, Administration of Justice and AST, so Associate Degree for Transfer, Administration of Justice, Associate of Science degree in Homeland Security, investigations, and so forth.
Yeah, that's great. So it's up to 30 units of credit at zero cost, which is quite a difference. Plus, you'll know that upfront what you qualify for. And so I think what we just lack in this equation is getting this out there in front of our students. Now, to be fair, this is a new program, very exciting because there are other post training programs across the state that might follow suit and offer similar CPL. Go ahead, Shelly.
So the big question is, do your students know about the CPL opportunities at your college? And who better to share the story, your story, is to ask the students to share their stories. And I admit, when I first saw this video from Officer Guerra, it moved me. And I got a little teary-eyed when he talks about how his experience at Palomar impacted his life and has led him to other opportunities. And I believe, Sam, are you going to show the video?
Yeah, I'll show the video. You ready?
Yes.
Oh, my name is Anthony Guerra. I've been a police officer with the city of San Diego for just shy of 2.5 years, and prior service with U.S. Customs Border Protection for just shy of 4 years. With combined service, Candace Rose and her team at Palomar College has really helped me out with CPL. CPL, the credit for prior learning was incredible, and essentially what they did was they took the academy I went to at Southwestern College Police Academy in 2015, and they combined that time along with my post certificate that I received after a year of service here with San Diego Police Department, and combined they were able to put that towards the administration of justice. And that whole program that's provided at Palomar, they essentially gave me credit, 30 credits for not even being at Palomar College. It's basically saying, hey, you've attended an academy, you've been in service as a police officer for X amount of time. With all that training, all that experience, and all that time on, they essentially were able to assist me in that. And by receiving a transcript with 30 official credits, I was able to forward that to my agency, and the human resources team was able to give me my intermediate post a lot sooner. And ultimately, that's what people want to achieve, because it comes with a little more money, a little more respect, and it's just something that I feel has been earned. And Candace Rose and her team really helped me out. So I highly, highly encourage you to do so. If you're prior service, prior military, I myself just recently joined the U.S. Coast Guard. I'm swearing in November 1st. Really excited about that new challenge. But again, just want to jump on here real quick just to inspire those brothers in blue, those officers, those military personnel. Do it. It saves you energy, time away from your families. All you have to do is provide your certificates or the training that you've completed thus far, and let them take it from there. CPL, credit for prior learning, worked for me. It can work for you. Take care now. Bye.
Yeah, that's a wonderful story. And I was, Candace Rose was mentioning in our previous session that Anthony got a 6.5% raise, sent her a little email, glorious day or something like that. Got a 6.5% raise when that was posted. And I believe is enrolled in the AS degree now. So he'll be completing his AS, and I suspect will be on his way to a bachelor's. And let's note that this is first generation college. He was not intending to go to college, and he came because of this opportunity. And not only is he on his path to college completion, but he's upwardly mobile in his career. He has new opportunities for advancement because of this. With a bachelor's degree comes another bump in pay, another bump in rank and opportunity. So it just opens up so many exciting doors. A local credit recommendation, set of credit recommendations made for auto at Miramar College, San Diego Community College District. So what I'm just showing you here is an alignment of the courses on the left and the corresponding credit recommendations on the right. Now, these credit recommendations did not come from a credit recommending service like ACE National Guide or the National College Credit Recommending Service, NCCRS. These came from the faculty for the auto tech program at Miramar. And I believe, Shelly, you mentioned that this might have been a statewide effort among faculty members statewide.
Yes. Faculty in automotive got together and they kind of mapped this out a few years ago. And then it was easy to make that transition from credit by exam to the industry certification.
Yeah. So now anyone who comes in with ASE A1 engine and related systems will be automatically eligible for that Auto 156G without getting another faculty approval. That faculty approval is done. And so that's very exciting to see that. I'm sure that there would be lots of stories that come out of these articulations here, up to 36 units worth for, let's say, a master technician who's completed these ASE certifications. Here's another set of local recommendations that wanted to draw your attention to. This is Miramar College faculty. They've articulated their Firefighter 1 certification with their local courses. You want to say anything about this, Shelly?
Sure. I just want to kind of mention that with the fire, we started out with credit by exam and then making this transition to industry certification. It was, I see our evaluator, Helen Julian, on the call. She sat down with the faculty member and helped him map the courses to the industry certification. And for fire, for this particular department, we have 43 courses now mapped to industry certification for a total of 78.2 units for this. And then if you add the additional credit by exam, I think we have almost like 120 or 130 units available.
It's amazing. I started fooling around to see if I could put all your fire articulations on one slide. It was just impossible. I had to use like a size 4 font. So I just picked one program of your fire certification. It's just amazing work down at San Diego Community College District. We'd love to see this. We're working on incorporating it into MAP so that it can become available easily for other colleges to adopt. We'd love to see firefighters across the state have credit for their earned certifications. So we're just hoping this is first of many. And I have a little story for you.
Hi, my name is Jason Evanskos. I'm a resident of San Diego County. I'm also a firefighter for one of our local departments and an adjunct instructor for Miramar's Fire Protection Technology program. Recently, I began my journey for promotion to company officer. With an extremely busy and inconsistent schedule, taking all the required state fire training classes from one educational institution would be very unrealistic. Miramar College has been a home base for my education, but I had to branch out to complete a few classes elsewhere. Due to the credit for prior learning system at Miramar College, I was able to use a few of my hard-earned state fire training certifications for credit towards an associate's degree in fire protection technology company officer through Miramar College. Without this system, a degree for my formal education would not have been possible. Now, not only can I help advance my firefighting career, but I bring this story of having one of Miramar College's fire protection technology instructors also being a former student who earned a professional degree through the program in which he teaches. I thank everyone involved for this opportunity, and I look forward to serving our community and training the future of our profession. Thank you.
That's great. Jason started talking about himself in the third person, I believe. And so I'm not sure if you caught that, but he's now an adjunct instructor in the program that he got credit for prior learning to complete. Is that right, Shelly?
Yes, yes.
So that's just like the perfect trajectory, perfect circle.
And we understand, I didn't get the testimonial, one of our automotive faculty who earned credit by exam also is an adjunct instructor at one of our colleges.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is wonderful. Oh, there we go. Okay, Sheri, you're on.
I'm on. So if we go back to the mission that we were talking about at the beginning, and we think about, you know, our educational mission is to educate for a prosperous citizenry. And we think about being at the forefront in combating income inequality. One of the ways we can do that is by maximizing credit for prior learning for adult reentry students so that they have increased access to these opportunities and at higher rates. If we think about how we are trailblazers in supporting social and economic mobility, one of the ways that we can do that is to recognize prior learning and use it as a way to increase boosted earnings, lead to completion and career advancement. If we think about how we are leading the way on workforce development, one of the ways we can do that is to integrate our work-based learnings and certifications into the pathways. And I think that the examples that we just saw are prime examples of how colleges are able to do that. And I can say that we all have a long way to go as we developed our policies and began implementing all of this, but every step forward is a step that helps students. And I know that when we talked about at Compton College, how do we use the CompTIA Plus certification, which a lot of us offer courses, and the faculty discussed and agreed, you know, if you're certified, why are we going to make you take the class again as part of some other program? Because you already got certified. Let's just give the 3 units of credit for that class and help you move on if you're pursuing another computer information systems program. So every unit is a unit that helps our students. And speaking of Title V, so go there, we all had a mandate. We had this credit for prior learning mandate written into Title V. We all adopted policies that said colleges will give credit for prior learning. We wrote policies. At ours, it's 4235. Some of the others, it's 2235 or 5235. But every college, California Community College, has a credit for prior learning policies and procedures. And it says that we will assess prior learning for veterans, active duty armed forces, for students who hold industry recognized credentials, or who request course credit based on their prior learning. And it's beyond that credit by exam that Shanti was talking about at the beginning of the general session in her welcome. It's more than just credit by examination. It's really looking at student experiences as they're coming in and how we award credit and recognize those experiences in their learning process.
Okay, this is me. By the way, thanks, Sheri, for mentioning Shantae's comments on behalf of Vice Chancellor Lowe. Shantae, I believe, is in our meeting today, and I'm hoping that along the way, as we're presenting, Shantae, if you want to unmute at any point in time and offer any comments or observations, that would be most welcome. Lovely. So if we're talking about how we institutionalize credit for prior learning, we're thinking that there are some opportunities with our conversation and procedures, with our organization, with our budget, our plans, and our policies. So if we touch on these areas and take some steps, we believe that we can move toward institutionalizing CPL. So first, in terms of our conversation and procedures, thinking that we need to add CPL alongside pathways into the equity-focused activities of our college. I know we're all turning in a new college equity plan to the state. And I would suggest that you look at that equity plan and list CPL as one of the key activities that you take to close your equity gaps. and look at how that might really be a lever that can effectively close equity gaps. The other is to talk about the CPL boost and the benefits to outreach and enrollment. And you can see a CPL fact sheet that we can put in the chat a little bit later, or that will be included with this presentation. That's from Kale, just to talk about it. The other is that Exec Cabinet talks about it and the value of progress, the value and the progress of CPL. So it's a regular item of discussion at Exec Cabinet. That would demonstrate the value that we have. Changing our values is important. Academic Senate should have a standing report possibly on CPL activities with a CPL coordinator reporting. That would help ensure that it's in our regular conversation. We also should host a CPL webpage, previously suggested, with a student request for credit review, contact information for a CPL coordinator, which could be a faculty or counselor on reassigned time or special project. Examples of CPL in pathways of study. For instance, I can think of that administration of justice pathway right now for Palomar, or auto or fire tech at Miramar. I could see guided pathways flyers with the CPL listed right on there. And also start collecting your student stories. They're super powerful and people want to see those. Your faculty need to see the student stories so they can see the lives changed, the impact, the value, keep the frame of why CPL is important in front and in focus. We are suggesting that you consider CPL a custom application question on a custom question on CCC Apply, and also to ensure that CPL is part of your onboarding and orientation process, and that you advertise your pathways using that Phoenix example. Okay, Sheri.
Great. So, we as we were planning, we were brainstorming, like, if what makes a college in the top 1% of CPL? So if you can answer these questions, you'll be there. And I've got to say that I have to admit that at Compton College, I can't necessarily answer these questions. And if I can, then I'm not sure that everybody at my college can, right? So, like I said, these are aspirational and quite ambitious, right? But how do you know if your students are receiving their eligible CPL? And I have to actually say that as a chief instructional officer, I don't have a report or anything that tells me that, right? So there's somebody in some office that knows, and we report it in our MIS reporting to the state, but unless I go back and pull that information, it's a little bit challenging, right? What is the student's first step in obtaining CPL at your college? Who's responsible for collecting their joint services transcripts or CPL evidence? And is that the same person, right? Like they might be two different offices. Who is your MAP ambassador? Oh, I know this one at Compton because it's me, right? So, but generally, I'm not even sure that all of the college really knows, because we also have a faculty lead for MAP. And she's become really the face of trying to work with the faculty as a peer on peer to help do some of our initial articulations. Is there a unit limitation? And how many units do you award of CPL? Who approves it? And if it's denied, is there an appeal process? And how is it being communicated to students in their onboarding and counseling? And like I said, I don't feel that I, Sheri Berger, am in the top 1% on answering all of these, and I'm the MAP ambassador. So we do see this as a growing process and things to aspire to. And great conversation starters for you to have at your colleges in terms of planning and organizational structure as credit for prior learning becomes a bigger aspect of the student experience at your colleges.
Yeah, I think that if I were to think of timelines, a 5-year timeline on being able to answer some of these questions wouldn't be unreasonable, because it takes time to change culture, change to develop business processes. But actually, as I say that, our students don't have that much time, and every semester, every year we delay on answering these types of questions is a another set of students, another cohort of students who doesn't get that credit, who doesn't come to college. So anyway, there is a sense of urgency to it, but also it can seem overwhelming. And we've been working at it for quite a while, and we can't answer all those questions either. Sheri, keep going.
Yeah. So, as we're all moving forward, we do have to think about ways to institutionalize CPL. And the first thing here is maybe you hire or designate a CPL coordinator. And I know in the earlier session for this track, someone had asked in the chat, do I need to hire a CPL coordinator? And I responded in the chat that it really depends, right, on your structure and on your processes and how your college is organized and your college culture, campus culture. These are all different things that have to be considered. But we do have a sample announcement that was put out by MAP of what that might look like. Or this is from San Diego Mesa College.
Yeah. So this is in the slide deck for later when you'll be able to access it. So it's really nice to have an example.
Yeah.
They're interviewing today for the
Oh, great.
Clarify it maybe in your org charts and where it reports to. Assemble a MAP team. I know at Compton College we have a MAP team, and the MAP team was meeting regularly, and now we're trying to get another meeting for the semester as we are moving forward in implementing. Who does the MAP team report to? Do they report to a dean, a vice president? Are they part of the collaborative governance structure? How can you engage your classified professionals with how CPL fits in their work? Clarify what the compensation is for the articulation reviews, because faculty are doing a lot of work to review some of this information. And how does it work within admissions and records? Because that's where most of this credit is being awarded. Admissions and records ultimately is the one that's probably awarding that credit on the transcripts and noting it appropriately for our transfer institution.
Yeah, we're seeing that's a challenge, but it's a challenge we're taking on and step by step, as Sheri mentioned, but working to clarify that relationship and how transcribing works. And if we can be of assistance with the MAP team, we'd love to help with that in regard. And we're also learning from our cohort colleges how they do it and then able to transfer that knowledge to other colleges. Shelly, you're on.
Okay. So if you started this work, the development, implementation, maintenance of CPL takes a lot of time and resources. And according to Title V, credit by exam is the only form of CPL that students may be charged for. Some districts like Palomar and our district, San Diego district, we eliminated the credit by exam fees. So we aren't getting that either, which is a huge, we did it for equity and just being able to be more open for students. So then the question asked is, if students aren't being charged for credit for prior learning, who pays for it? And I'll admit, we're still kind of figuring that out at SDCCD, but there are some funding opportunities available. The first one is check your regional strong workforce funding to help pay for overtime, comp time. The San Diego Regional Consortium, which is led by Candace and Rachel and Heather, they have a regional CPL work group, and faculty and administrators, we meet monthly. And as a group, we talk about our long-term and short-term goals. And there's funding to support professional development for faculty, a stipend for faculty to participate in the group. And I think we may even be getting, from what I hear, the colleges may be receiving money to help with that faculty coordination piece. Another idea is use the IEPI PRT funds. And I know in San Diego, we currently have an IEPI PRT for reviewing our transcript process. But I think, Sam, you have the examples in the slide of how to apply for the IEPI. And if anyone wants our model, I'm happy to share it with you. I know as I was going through the process to apply for it, it's a little bit complicated, and I did a lot of Google searches and found samples of what other colleges did. So if anybody wants help with that, feel free to reach out to me. There's also regional equity and recovery partnership grants. And whenever you can, try to implement CPL into your existing general fund, because as you know, these one-time fees don't always, you need to be able to maintain and institutionalize it.
Yeah, I also included in this, it's not opening right now, but we'll make sure it opens when we save the slide deck for later. Our example from this regional equity grant from Norco College that we were fortunate enough to receive, I just included our original proposal for that so that you can copy away and use it at your college. And I would mention too that the IEPR PRT funds, the 200,000 is, as Shelly mentioned, it's a little cumbersome to do. The mini 75,000, I think, is just a letter. And I think I did check with Matthew Lee, who administers those PRT funds on behalf of College of the Canyons, who's the steward. And he said the credit for prior learning would be eligible for it. So the 75 grand might be really worth your effort and get you a little shot in the arm for some OT or temporary assistance.
And I'm pretty sure part of our regional work that we're doing is also sponsored through an IEPI PRT grant.
Great. And just another note, those IEPI PRT funds, even the full 200,000, they're available to each college in the district, and they're also available to the district office. So if you're a multi-college district, you can actually get one for just the district office, which gives you another 200 grand. And also that gives you for Shelly's particular case, you have that centralized support. Okay, this is me. So now if we're talking about planning, so we've covered conversation procedures, organization, budget, now we're on to planning, suggesting that you consider adding a discipline or department CPL support to program review. So some sort of prompt that asks faculty, how are you interacting with, supporting, engaging on CPL with your discipline? The other is to add annual measurable goals to your strategic plan, maybe to award so many units or course credits of CPL, or maybe it's more broad, develop a system to facilitate the gathering of students eligible for CPL, something of that sort. You want to ensure as part of measurable goals, maybe that all JSTs, this would be a great one. All JSTs for all military students are collected and uploaded into MAP as part of an onboarding process. That will give you a baseline. And then once you have your all eligible students uploaded, then you can start to see, well, what are my opportunities for granting CPL? And then quantify that quite easily or automatically, as a matter of fact. Maybe consider a goal that you document all military students receive appropriate basic training CPL. That's that 4.2 units I've mentioned before that cohort colleges offer in area E on average, 4.2. Your college, it might be 5 units, 4 units, up to 12 units. I think it's Bakersfield College. And some colleges offer no units for basic training CPL. So it'd be good to ensure that all of your eligible students receive that. That you have a current list of CPL eligible military and adult reentry students. That's a tough one. If you can do that, let me know, and let me know how you do it. We're working on that one now. And we have a plan or taking steps to comply with Title 55050, item J. And that we have a simple and publicly accessible way for students to request CPL or check on their CPL status. Okay, Sheri.
Yep. So talking about those policies again, I got stuck with policies. I'm a policy geek. Take a fresh look at your policies. One of the things that we notice is, is basic training clear and is it adequate, and is it easy to award that credit, and how can it be improved? Again, going back, are there any limits on the total of credit prior learning, and why are they there? Because sometimes these things are just, we've always done it that way kind of answers, right? And what is that conversation, and what does that look like as we're talking about equity for our students' education? Is there a residency clause that prevents you from offering CPL? Like, do students have to have certain units completed at the college prior to being awarded CPL. And so how does that impact the students? And are you honoring CPL that's transcribed from other accredited institutions? So if students were awarded that CPL for the post training, and they now come to your college, are you accepting that CPL that's been awarded and transcribed for that student from another college? So taking a fresh look at all of this, I know for us, the other thing, we don't have a question here, is your processes. When we wrote our processes and our policies and procedures, MAP didn't exist. And there wasn't an easy way for students to submit their JSTs into a system. And they just had to be submitted to the Veterans Office, right? And then reviewed there. It was a manual process, right? Fill out this PDF form and we'll route it through all of the different steps. But maybe that process needs to be revised as new technologies have become available to us. And I know that's one of the things we have started having conversations within our MAP team about, because we want to start using the intake process for our military, for the JSTs to award the military credit. So looking at all of those things with fresh eyes, especially as we move forward and we have new technologies available to us.
Great. I've also included a couple of the AP BP 5235 from San Diego. They think it's a very comprehensive and complete board policy and administrative procedure for your reference.
And I'll say, Sam, we are in the process of revising our policy and procedure as well.
Oh, you are?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, great. Are you nearing the end of that revision, or are you just
very close to sending it to the campus constituents for discussion?
Okay, great. And here is a CPL implementation matrix that I pulled off of the ACE site. And I think, Shelly, you've made some use of this in the past.
Yeah, I convinced you to leave it on because it's been a tool that I always reference back to.
Mm-hmm. And I included the link on the slide as well for you, so that if you have trouble finding it again, it'll be there for you. And then Shelly.
Okay. So as I mentioned at the beginning, I have a unique position in my district as the Dean of Instructional Services. I facilitate the curriculum approval process with faculty, serve as the district articulation officer, and also oversee student evaluations because our evaluators are centralized at the district office. So in my role, I have this opportunity to see the many facets of CPL and articulation, the faculty development, the importance of developing and maintaining articulation with our transfer partners, and the big piece of the impact on students if the courses they take via CPL are, or in some cases are not articulated. So working with Dr. Lee and his team at MAP, I have to say I have a lot of hope in this area because you are the pioneers. You're collaborating and developing partnerships and literally trailblazing the way for CPL by opening doors with our university partners that I never thought we could even touch. So just think about, as you're looking at this, how to align with our CSU articulations for course, area, and elective. And I think we talk about elective credit later in the slide. So with the CSUs, we have the opportunity to align with 23 campuses. With our CCs, we have the opportunity to align with 116 campuses. And something I never thought would happen, but the UC is actually listening and beginning those discussions.
Yeah, we had a lovely meeting with them earlier this week with the president's office at the UC and got some insights on where they are with CPL and where we can go with discussions on how to clarify their policy and procedure in a way that we can all have it transparent and we can move ahead with our students with confidence with CPL. And so we're excited about that. It's just the starting of the discussions.
And then I also have for this slide, I believe it is this slide. I know many of us in the field are laser focused on the language in Title V that states credit may be granted only to the student who is registered at the college in good standing and only for a course listed in the catalog of the community college. So Dr. Lee and his team are having conversations with the Chancellor's office and others to kind of give us some clarification on this language and expand it to allow, when applicable, some of that elective credit or area credit, which I think will be huge. It'll help us even open more opportunities for CPL.
Yeah.
And then just the other work you've been doing, talking with the CSUs, and then being able to use our CPL for the ADTs and the CSUG breadth transfer will be huge. And we're just waiting for that clarification of the executive order.
Yeah, that's right. And they have assured us at the CSUs that as long as we certify the ADT and CSUGE breadth, that they will not question what we transcribe or certify. And so with area credit, they treat it the same as course credit. And one of the things we recently learned is that the CSUs are doing a great job on their own of granting CPL in certain instances for course credit and for area credit. There are 4 different CSUs that give area A1, one of the golden 4, credit for prior learning, for occupations in the military. And so that's been wonderful to see. And now we're in the process on the road to clarifying whether Title V will allow us to award area credit. We've been awarding area E credit for many years for basic training, but we want to see it clarified in Title V. And then if we need to clarification on anything with the CSU executive order, that would happen. Okay, and then the last note, Shelly, on elective unit limitations, I believe we're looking with the clarification with Title 55050 that there would probably be a sentence in there that would limit the elective units, ensuring that they're degree applicable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, Sheri.
Yeah. So as Dr. Lee mentioned earlier, this is a good time to look at how CPL fits within all of the different efforts that we have, including our equity and our equity plans, right? As the income for our students rise, does the data show that students of color would utilize CPL, right? If it was more clearly understood. We know that CPL is a strong factor in our work on guided pathways, right? In at least 3 of the 4 pillars, and entering the path, clarifying the path, and staying on the path. And then, as we've just discussed, how we're extending those pathways to our transfer partners. How does common course numbering? I mean, this could really help with CPL as we move to this across the state for transferability and portability of our students from college to college. And then looking at our CTE programs, apprenticeship programs, training, certificates, how is CPL incorporated into there? And I believe, Dr. Lee, you have an example from IBEW, right?
Yeah, very quickly. We're running short on time. So let me just go back on that. Hold on.
And I just want to add, while you're opening that, one of the other things is at Compton College, we're part of an adult strategic enrollment management initiative through the state chancellor's office. And so I know CPL is a big part of our plan for adult SEM.
Yeah, that's another area of opportunity. I'm not able to open the IBEW exhibit yet, but I'll have that fixed for when the deck is ready. But it shows how we were able to give credit for experience for electrician apprentices who are entering our 5-year IBEW program at year 4 with 3 years of proven demonstrated work experience and skill. And so we were able to work with the faculty to give them 3 years worth of credit toward their certificate so they could complete as journeymen and with a certificate from our college. So then if we're asking you to help us with advocacy for funding. And so we're asking state leaders to authorize ongoing funding to scale MAP statewide and to scale the expansion of the initiative to all 116 colleges. Right now we can barely serve the 55 colleges we have listed with our very small temporary team. And so we need that advocacy. We need that ongoing funding to support the formation of a full-time permanent CPL team and help our colleges and universities implement MAP. And then it'll help us with the ongoing development and implementation of MAP at no cost to institutions. It's one of our key strategies to have this platform and our services and all the professional development available at no cost to institutions, because we do not want there to be a barrier between CPL and our students and have funding be that barrier. Considering policy reform, we're asking folks to consider whether state apportionment should be allowed for CPL as long as it's transcribed, degree applicable, and transferable. We're working to clarify Title V 5050, as we mentioned, and also how CPL will apply to Cal GETSI. That's a big one coming up. We'd like to consider adding an opportunity to upload JST on CCC Apply when students check the military affiliation item. That would save a lot of work from the colleges although it might add a step to students in CCC Apply. So that should be a discussion of whether it's worth it, but it should be considered whether that would be a great place to upload that JST and have that available at the front end rather than running it after. And then we want a clear UC CPL policy compatible with our policies. And then we want to consider a state national minimum. This would be a legislative advocacy for 12 units minimum CPL for any service member who's completed their service and was honorably discharged. That would be a big boost nationwide for our veterans. And then also consider a resolution recommending reciprocity for CPL. If one college gives credit for a particular credit recommendation, that other colleges might recognize that as well. That would be a recommendation probably from ASCCC if they decided to move that way. And we're closing our breakout room in 56 seconds. So steps you can take involve your faculty leadership from the start. Assemble a CPL team that includes A&R counseling, dean, faculty. Appoint a dean to support CPL, clarify VP oversight, support the mission of the California MAP initiative, and adopt some short-term goals. Your short-term goals were previously shared. That's to ensure that all military students get their default credit, that you have a plan to begin outreach to students who are eligible for CPL, and that you have functioning procedure to comply with Title V. And that brings us to questions and discussion with 12 seconds left. I want to thank everyone. Thank you, presenters. Thank you for attending our session. We'll see you back in the main room.